Hey everyone, and welcome back. So last time we talked about just micro interactions around like hovering, clicking, and sometimes I like to actually make just animations for great feedback. And one example of that is you saw my little kind of animation of my bouncing ball, this little notification bubble that was bouncing on a heart. And I thought that was really cool. And I think we should probably recreate that for our own project, maybe like a little bouncing ball for our cart. Something like that. Now, there are different ways to create that. You can go really simple. What I did for something like this was much more in depth. If we think about motion in general and animation in general, it must follow the laws of gravity. So what that means is if we think about how a ball bounces up and down, let me just create a circle because I don't really want to mess with that frame over here because this is where our animation is actually. So I'll show you how that works. But the one way we can think about like just gravity in general, when we think about a ball, when a ball hits the ground, what happens to it? It doesn't just look like this. When it hits the ground, it kind of squishes just a bit. You don't see it. It may not squish that much. It may just like shrink just a little bit like that, but it still does. And when a ball propels itself upward, it stretches, depending on how fast it's going. So if we're thinking about something like a really squishy ball, that's how it would look due to gravity and velocity and all different factors due to physics. So what will happen is if it bounces up and then reaches just like the max height it can go, it will start to just recede and return to normal. And then after, pause in the top and then start dropping down and then hit the ground like that. And then same thing. And then over time, it will gradually stop bouncing, hopefully. Now, we need to apply that to our animation. So let's just delete that. Now, there are different ways we can go about doing that. We can make something really simple, just something like moving up and down. And I'm going to show you how to create something really simple like that. And then I'll show you an example of what I created that followed all the laws of physics and just gravity in general. So let me jump right in. I have a little frame here called notification. And within that frame, I have a little layer, not original naming, but I have a little layer that is going to act as our notification bubble. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a plugin, a very special plugin that is, and it is called Figmotion. And here it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my plugins, go to Figmotion and open Figmotion. And it's going to open up like an overlaid window. There it is. And you'll see our layers within that frame. There's only one layer. Now, let me just give you a little walk around on what Figmotion is. There's a timeline. If you've ever used something like After Effects or Premiere Pro or anything like that, ScreenFlow, they all have timelines. Now, you can animate all these different properties like the X, Y coordinates, width, height, all that kind of stuff. And you can animate it based off of keyframes. So these are in 100 millisecond increments. And that is basically it. What you want to do is you want to set like a keyframe and then go ahead and you can set another keyframe. And when you click into something like that, you can adjust it. So this will move on the X axis and this will move on the Y axis. Now, when you're done, you can actually just play and it will show you what's happening over there. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to give you an example. So if I were to just look at this, I'm going to remove these and I'm going to select that, the Y. I want to move it up and down. And if we play, we'll see that it moves down. That's a terrible animation, but you can see that we can start creating much more complex animations from something like this. So let's jump right in. I'll show you a couple of little tricks that you can do along the way and what happens after you're done exporting it. I'm going to create something really, really simple. I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to update my layers, because any changes over here will not be updated here unless you update them manually. So I'm just going to start at 0 and I'm just going to, it doesn't really matter. Like you can select just different points in time. So I'm just going to select 200. milliseconds, and I'm gonna select another keyframe. And what I can do here is I can go into this and I'm going to type, how about just 20? And you can see what type of animation. So I don't like doing linear. We can do custom if we wanted to, and it'll give us like a little graph. And we can play with that if we wanted to. But if you didn't feel like actually working with a custom, just the easing, you can just select ease in, ease out, ease in and out. So for this animation, I am moving upwards. Let's check what ease out looks like. So we're gonna play. So that was really quick. So let's just see what the animation looks like. So you can see it's pretty abrupt and then it slows down. Now, if we use something like ease in, so it was very, very slow to move, and then it gradually got just faster as it moved in and out. So we can just do ease in and out because if we're thinking about gravity at the most basic sense, we can do that. Okay, so what I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna go to 1 second. So it's going to take 1 second to get from top to bottom, but I'm gonna make sure this is much larger in space. So let's even go even further. Let's do 10. Okay, so that looks good. So if we play that, do you see how it eased in and out? So it was kind of like it was slowly moving upward. Then when it got to the top, it was slower. Now, when we come back down, let's scroll all the way to the side. So I'm gonna go all the way to 2 seconds. Actually, at the top, I may just wait. So I may wait for like just a bit. And when I get up here, I'm gonna select, we're just gonna stay. We're gonna just stay ease in and out. We're not gonna move. And then we are gonna go to 2.2 seconds, which is over here. And we're gonna go all the way back down. So what I need to do is I need to select my Y coordinates, and I'm going to see the original. I'm just gonna select that. And I'm going to paste that within here. And when I think about actually like something dropping, it's going to ease out. Actually, it's going to ease into it, and then it's going to drop really quick. So let's see how that looks. So up, down. Sometimes you just have to fiddle with these to get the right animation. See, I didn't like that one. You saw how it slowed down at the end. That makes no sense in terms of gravity. So I'm thinking like, when you hold, you get up to the top, hold, and down. Okay, so we can now start to fine tune this a bit. Maybe that hold is only just there. Maybe we start bringing it in a bit more. So we got at 700 milliseconds, and we can do like a half millisecond hold. And then we will go to 13. The drop should be maybe a little more quicker. So I'm gonna go grab that keyframe. I'm gonna drag it all back. The only problem is this doesn't have a way to zoom in and out and grab keyframes, like just dragging and just drag to select, which kind of isn't the best, but this is great just working within Figma. So there we go. We have like a little animation going. Now we can even go a little bit further if we think about, so this is more linear. Now I'm just gonna exit out of Figmotion. So we have a little animation here. Now let's take a look at this one. Where is Figmotion? All the way right there. Now we're at 0. You can see all the different types of keyframes I have in here just to get it right. And as you can tell, I've created like a little bounce. So it's gonna squish and propel itself forward or upward, stop, return back to normal size and propel itself downward, and it's going to shrink in width and look much more elongated. And it's going to hit the ground again. It's going to shrink, and it's going to do the same thing. But this time, if you notice, when it reached that top height and then came down for the second bounce, we've lost a little bit of speed. We've lost a little bit of force. And we're not going to jump as high this time. We're not going to bounce as high. We're going to bounce just a little bit and then just a smidge. Let's see what the ending of this looks like. So just a smidge. And then we're just going to hold. So that way, when we do create this loopable GIF, it's going to hold for like a couple of seconds afterward before it bounces again. So it's not like crazy bouncing in the corner of your screen, and people are going to be really annoyed with it. So let's take a look. There it goes. And it's going to hold, then it'll bounce again. Boom. So that's a quick little way to do it. I'm going to actually show you how to break this down just a little bit more and with this one in our next video.